welcome back to the Alchemical Arts. Today we're just going to have a quick look at the contents of this bell glass here and what's been happening to the lead white project as things have been evolving. So a number of things have happened here that were sort of surprising and interesting as I sort of have watched this thing grow and change in this little chamber here. So initially I had two little dishes in there that had acetic acid that was supposed to provide acetic acid vapors to attack the lead symbol here, which if you didn't watch the first episode, this is the symbol of Saturn, Saturn being the metal of lead, and anyway, so working through that. So the idea was the acetic acid vapors come up, they turn the lead into lead acetate, and then I had originally a fermenter connected up to this that was fermenting and brewing ethanol, and the byproduct of that is carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide turns the lead acetate into a lead carbonate, thus producing the lead white. Now what initially ended up happening was here on the marble I got all of this white sort of salt forming down the bottom here, which was actually the acetic acid reacting with the calcium in the marble to produce some sort of calcium acetate thing. So that wasn't working. The fermenter stopped working because it was winter here and the fermentation process just sort of died. And so I didn't really get much of a change happening on the lead symbol itself for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I ended up taking the acetic acid out, stopping the fermenter, cleaning up all of the calcium acetate that had formed, and then just sort of put the whole project to the side and sort of wrote it off as a bit of a fail. I then noticed it must have been a couple of weeks ago, I took note of it again and realized that the symbol had started turning white. So obviously a portion of the acetic acid had actually worked on the lead here and turned it to lead acetate, and then just over time enough carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and stuff like that had actually started to change and transition into the lead white, as you can see here. I'll get a couple of close-up shots at the end of this. So, interesting so far. I think one of the problems with doing it like this, as opposed to the traditional method where you have little sheets of metal of lead rolled up, so thin sheets that you roll up and you put in little clay pots with acetic acid and you bury it in manure or wood chips so that you get the heat and the carbon dioxide from the decomposition. That definitely obviously works better, because one of the problems with this symbol, as cool as it looks, is it doesn't have enough surface area for the lead to actually be attacked and broken down quickly. So what's ended up happening is we've just formed a layer of lead white that's now protecting the rest of the lead that's under there. It's still cool that this worked and that this has transitioned like this, but for a practical way of making lead white, this is obviously not. This is more of a artful experiment, and yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out, but definitely if I want to actually make some lead white in the future, I'll have to go through some different processes and maybe follow the more traditional methods. But anyway, this is just a little update video to show you what's happened with this, and I think I'm just going to leave this and let this just evolve as it does naturally, and maybe I'll come along at a future date and scrape off the lead white and play around with it as a paint. Obviously lead's relatively toxic, so I want to be careful here. That's why it's in this little glass chamber. But yeah, interesting result nonetheless. Just if we get in closer here like this, So getting in closer here like this, you can see that sort of build up of the lead carbonate on the surface there. As we go around, there's some areas where it's thicker, some areas where it's still not quite happening, and you can see down here on the bottom, that's the calcium acetate sort of residue from when I had the acetic acid in there. But cool nonetheless. Anyway, thank you for watching, and tune in, there'll be a proper episode coming out later this week. This is just more a little update for this project. Hope everybody is well, and see you soon.